Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I'm George. We're all George. Oh boy. Oh boy. Bank of England just sent out a warning. Recession, recession, recession. Maybe the worst one ever experienced. Let's talk about that. Also talk about how well Bitcoin is holding despite the raise we had announced yesterday. Sellers are exhausted, and that's positive. So let's talk about all these things and more. Good morning, guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Starting out right now, 4 minutes before the bell, it's not looking good in the U.S. And I do think it has a lot to do with what's happening overseas. There's a lot of negative news. Bank of England follows the Fed, raises its benchmark rate by 75 basis points, the highest hike in 33 years. It is now up to 3%, which is 0.75 below where or under the U.S. Benchmark rate. So UK is trying to catch up, but not quite there yet. However, it's not just that. Bank of England also issues recession warning, saying that they expect the recession to last all of 2023 and even the first half of 2024, okay, which could be the worst ever recorded. That's a long time, and this is coming from their central bank, okay? So this obviously has a lot of people spooked. The British pound went down. And of course, when you have other currencies losing strength against Bitcoin, what happened? Or not? Well, yes, they are losing strength against Bitcoin. But when they're losing strength against the USD, what happens? The DXY tends to go up. So we are noticing the DXY creeping up this morning back, unfortunately, to 113, which is, of course, affecting markets right now, which is why the U.S. market is looking like it wants to open in the red. Yesterday, deep red after the Powell speech, right? Went into negative 500 this morning. Looks like it could follow. NASDAQ got crushed yesterday. But the good thing is Bitcoin did not. Bitcoin is still holding above 20,000. Yes, we're a little bit under from yesterday afternoon, but you could see it's still in the green right now. So we're at the same point where Bitcoin started yesterday. So Bitcoin is holding strong right now, and that's fantastic. But what's coming out of Europe is looking like a real mess. And it's not just the UK. Take a look at this. Germany. Germany's Uniper, which is the biggest gas supplier, which is about to be nationalized, they just posted a $40 billion loss. 40 billion euro loss. Okay? This is how bad it is in Germany right now. Because, of course, when Russia shuts off gas, there's no gas to be sold, okay? This is why Germany is nationalizing, and Germany is so desperate to spin up their nuclear plants and spin up any retired coal plants that they have, because quite frankly, their economy was hindering on natural gas from Russia, and that has been cut, so they have to figure out what to do. So that's also not looking good. And there's other countries in Europe that's kind of the same situation, probably not as bad as Germany, but inflation, I heard in Italy was above 12%. You know, in the Eurozone overall, close to 11%. UK is above 10%. And even in the US, we're in the 8%. So these are all scary things right now. And then yesterday, I was looking at this, the target probability for the next FOMC meeting and next rate hike in December for us in the US, it was at 60-something% last night for 50 basis points. Right now, it looks like 52. So it did drop. So now it's 50-50. So that pivoting, that softening of rate hikes that Powell did mention briefly. Oh, it's 8:30. Oh. Hey, the bell's working again. It just magically fixed itself. Yesterday it would not work. I gotta change the battery on that, but you know, people are not so sure that he is going to be pivoting next month now. It's kind of like 50-50. And when I say pivoting, it doesn't mean that he's just go stop his rate hikes. Just like slow it down. So we're not going to get another 75 basis point, maybe a 50 basis points, because the Fed rate going up affects so many things out there. Just look at mortgages. Prime rate is usually like 1% above the fund rate, and then mortgages are based on the prime rate plus some kind of percent, and they're above 7%, could be heading to 10%. Auto loans, any kind of loans, credit card loans, anything that's a loan related, anything that has to deal with borrowing, those rates are sky high. And of course, that makes it harder for businesses to operate, because sometimes they do need loans to operate. And it's just a trickle down effect. Basically, Powell still thinks the nation has too much money, too much savings. He has to make people more broke. And yeah, that's why we're in the situation we're in right now. But, you know, speaking of inflation, look at someone like Turkey, who has 85.5% year-to-year inflation. In fact, it was mind-boggling because just last month, they decided to cut their rates despite having crazy inflation. I guess they thought that they needed to spur up the economy somehow. But after they did that, surprise, surprise, their inflation rate went up even more. Okay, so not looking good around the world. And this is the reason why I maintain that Bitcoin is the true asset that will become a store of value globally, and why we need to stay long with Bitcoin, because people are just getting fed up. They don't want to see the money power dissipate to nothing due to inflation. And if you happen to be in a country where you're suffering from hyperinflation like this, what are you going to do? Right? Sometimes you're very limited in terms of what you can buy. But Bitcoin is a world asset, world currency, not controlled by anyone, right? And more people are turning to it while they try to opt out of their own financial systems. All right, so that's what's going on a macro scale. But what about Bitcoin? Well, there's positive news. Cathie Wood is loading up on Block again. She sold off not too long ago, a few months ago. Now she's picking up Block. I don't know if Block has gone up or down since then, right? But Cathie Wood is very diversified. She's loading up on Block and Robinhood shares because she still believes they are integral parts of crypto and Bitcoin, and she's still a big believer. So that's good. What else is going on? Exhaustion. Okay, and I'm talking about seller exhaustion. This is measuring volatility, and it's pretty darn low. I told you guys even yesterday, look at it. Right afterwards, after the meeting, the U.S. market tanks. Bitcoin did not. Okay, so it's starting to, again, decouple away from NASDAQ and from the stock market, which is very, very positive. You think about it. The correlation was almost like 1-to-1 for basically most of this year. And now the fact that we're starting to see that decoupling with more volatility for U.S. markets and world markets, that is very positive. That is very positive. So seller exhaustion is very high. Volatility is very low. And that's because, like I said, people want to opt out, and because all the retail investors that came in left. We're left with long-term holders, miners, and institutions that are just going to keep holding and hoarding and DCAing, basically. You look at Marathon Digital, recorded the highest BTC output in October. So obviously they're a huge mining farm. They're not giving up. They continue to mine. There's been rumor swirling about how Bitcoin miners may be leaving and it's unprofitable. Well, not according to a lot of these guys. They continue to mine and hoard and mine and hoard. In fact, you look at Bitcoin's hash rate. I hate using this one because it gets cut off. But if you actually look at it, the hash rate is an all-time high. And it actually shot up a lot recently. So the miners are definitely not. Can I zoom in here? No, I can't zoom in. But the miners are definitely not going away. And not only are they not going away, they're going even more in, meaning they're buying more miners to mine Bitcoin, which is why Marathon just recorded the highest BTC output in October. So these are good stuff. Good stuff. Also, of course, a lot of people are charting Bitcoin. I've shown this before. This is showing MACD reversal on the monthly scale, just like the two previous times, one back in 2015, 2016, and one back in 2018, 2019. Both showed Bitcoin being oversold on the monthly scale, and shortly afterwards, Bitcoin went on a terrific run. And that is the same scenario we're in right now. Let's see. What else is there? There's a lot of stuff here. Here's one that's comparing to 2019 when Bitcoin had a pretty good reversal. So, fractal patterns. There's a lot to be found. Also, look at the transfer volume. Okay? This is coming from a perspective of, okay, yeah, Bitcoin can never amount to anything. Can never compete with the likes of Visa or MasterCard or any other payment rail out there, okay? But just take a look at it. Look at how much things changed since 2021. Prior to 2021, Bitcoin never exceeded 2 trillion of volume. 2021, 13 trillion. And in 2022, despite the downward pressure, 14 trillion. Okay, so don't tell me that Bitcoin network is not being used. $14 trillion worth of volume just this year alone, and the year's not over yet. So that's awesome. That's awesome. Wait until 5-10 years have passed. This could be at 100 trillion, maybe even higher than that, right? It's quite amazing to see the growth there. All right, now just the last few things. Phantom is shooting up like crazy today because people have noticed that he may be back with Phantom because he added a .ftm to his username, and he calls himself chief or vice president of memes, right? So maybe Andre Cronje is back with Phantom, which is why they shot up today. A lot of people really do like Andre and was really bummed out when he declared earlier this year that he's leaving Phantom for whatever reason. But he's like the chief architect of DeFi. He's been in DeFi for a very, very, very long time. So that's also good for Phantom. If true, Aave votes to deploy on ZK Sync, which is another layer 2 solution, right? So there's a lot of L2s out there, including them. Also Polygon, Arbitrum, Optimism, and then all the EVM compatible chains that's coming out on other chains like Moonbeam with Polkadot and there's a few others. One on even XRP Ledger. There's one on Cardano. There's a ton of them out there. But Aave is a pretty big project, so it's a big win for ZK Sync. And then lastly, Metamask is bullish on Web 3.0 gaming. They're going to launch an in-game launcher for their wallet. That's pretty cool. They're making an app store for games within their wallet. So, okay. So going back, Bitcoin is coming up a little bit, 20,200. Basically, like I said, it's still higher than this point at versus yesterday. So that's good. Overall market is still red. Can we see a flip today? Let's see. I think this morning it was supposed to be in green, but then this dire warning from the UK about recession, I think that kind of scared off a lot of people today. Look at this. Goldman Sachs seeks to impose order on expanding crypto universe with classification system. Whose? Theirs? Their classification system? The investment bank is set to unveil a data service created with the global index provider MSCI and crypto data from Coinmetrics that seeks to classify hundreds of digital coins and tokens so institutional investors can make sense of the new asset class. Interesting. The new service called Autonomy, a play on word taxonomy, which is a brand. Okay. Users can tap in data and help with analysis and research. So basically, Goldman Sachs wants to create a tool to help investors get more exposure with crypto, is what it sounds like. That's good. That's good. That's not. Yeah. I'd say that's pretty good. Anyways, all right. Let's do some Q&A. Arweave plus 49. Scooby-Doo says Arweave plus 49%. I covered that last night because Meta will be using Arweave to store their NFT data. So that's pretty big, even though Meta is an absolutely, downward spiral. It's not looking good for them for the future. But in the meantime, that's a pretty good use case for Arweave. I DCA'd $300 yesterday into ADA and Sand. Okay, good. Hi from Perth, Australia. Graham, welcome. Trump warned Germany this would happen. I gotta say, he did. I seen the videos where he did warn Germany that, hey, you're basically at the mercy of Russia if you're so dependent on their gas. So that is true. And now Germany is trying real desperately to get away from this. I don't know. Supposedly they have enough gas for winter. That's what I've heard. So the good thing is people are not going to be freezing or anything this year. Hopefully not. That's what I've heard. I don't know if that's actually true. But they are scrambling right now to try to become less dependent on natural gas. Inflation rate in the Netherlands is 18%. Yeah, it's pretty high. It's pretty high in Europe. Let's see here. Diesel shortage, 25 days left. I keep hearing people talk about it. I don't know if it's really going to happen, if we're really going to run out of diesel fuel. I mean, we sit on so much oil, the U.S. itself. And I'm pretty sure we sit on a lot of reserves. I don't know. This whole diesel thing. GTC is the reason Phantom is going up. I don't know what that is. I'm pretty sure it's Andre Cronje. I'm pretty sure it's Andre Cronje coming back to Phantom. I don't know what you're referring to. But Bitcoin coming up slightly. Let's see. I didn't check the overall crypto market cap. Clinging on to 1 trillion. That's also pretty darn good. I mean, we were hovering below 1 trillion for so long, and despite yesterday's sell-off and right now the sell-off in U.S. markets, overall market cap barely moved. Barely moved. Good. Very good. White House says U.S. is not in recession. Well, Powell said that too. Powell yesterday said that he thinks we're not in recession. Even though, if you look at technical definition of what recession is, we are certainly in recession. But I don't know what they're using, what their definition is. And when I say what their, I mean they meaning Powell and the current administration. But I like to know like exactly what they mean by recession. Like unemployment get to a certain level or what? I don't know because they have changed it. But you know what? UK warning about recession lasting until 2024, first half of 2024. That's not sitting well with a lot of people right now. Inflation seems higher in the US compared to EU. I don't think that's the case. People tell me how much it is for a quart or a pint of gas or gasoline, right? But if you translate to a gallon, the US is really, really high. Looks like, energy costs is way higher in Europe right now versus the US. Food cost, our food costs have gone up a lot, but I don't know how it compares to UK and Germany and others. Our overall core inflation is around 5%. Overall inflation is around 8% but that's still way less than some of the other countries out there. Especially if you're looking at someone like, I don't know, like Turkey or something. Turkey is at like 86%. And I'm sure there's other countries that's suffering similar inflation. I'm sure Russia is feeling it too. Their inflation is high. In Asia, China, Japan, their inflation is very high. China is also not looking very good too right now. They have the zero COVID policy, so they keep shutting down their factories. They had many cities that were still shut down for much of this year. So that's why I think supply chain issues have not resolved completely, because we still have that going on. What's a good amount of Doge and SHIB to have? There's no right or wrong answer. You determine that. I do think my opinion of Doge changed because I've always said SHIB has way more utility and they're working on it, and they still do. But now it's getting serious with Elon and Twitter, right? And I could be completely wrong. Maybe Elon does nothing with Doge with Twitter, but he's making changes already. And it seems like he's making a lot more changes. So I do think Doge is going to gain utility simply from one man, Elon, and it's going to come from Twitter. So my mind has changed a little bit on Doge. SHIB, on the other hand, I've always maintained that I like the way they're going. They're trying to jump out from being a meme coin to a real utility coin with some fun to it, right? With their metaverse, with their layer 2, with their DEX, with NFTs, with everything. So, I mean, they're looking like a legit, chain. But Doge, on the other hand, never had any developments, nothing, just Elon. But Elon alone could be enough to drive it way higher and back to its previous highs. Raspa, do you like Immutable X? I'm neutral on them. They're L2, but there's just a lot of L2s out there. So I don't know. I'm more neutral on them. The only thing that really gave them a name recently is because they're part of the GameStop NFT place. And I've always said I don't see the big deal about it, but a lot of people seem to think that's a big deal. But for me, not really. Lazaro just got his first BTC. Wow, congratulations. Not an easy thing to do, but you did it, my man, and that is fantastic. Check breaking news on CNBC. I don't see any breaking news. Ian says, I was just in Germany and food prices have gone parabolic. Eating in restaurants is just insane. So, thanks for confirming. I mean, it makes sense. I've heard food and energy like gas and electricity has shot up to the moon in Europe, not just Germany, but UK as well. It's just not a good situation. $2.80 per liter in New Zealand. What does that translate to? It's like $6 for a gallon. I don't know. US, we always calculate by gallons, so we don't calculate by liters like everyone else. $7 a pint in UK? That seems awfully high. Awfully high. What office chair do you use? I got this from Costco. It's like a gaming chair from Costco, and they still have it. Be careful. Reverend Flashback says there's a huge token unlock on Mutable X in 2 days. That's why some influencers are shilling it, probably want their bag. Is that the reason why so many people have been asking about it? Because I have seen more people ask me about Mutable X recently. And I thought it's just because of GameStop NFT plays, but is that why more people are talking about it? Is that why? But thanks for the warning. It looks like there is a huge unlock. And if so, it's not going to be good for its price. What is Immutable X at anyways? 142 million, relatively small cap. Yeah, I've never been a big fan of Immutable X. What do you think about Matic partnering with Meta? I covered that yesterday. NFTs on Instagram will be riding on Matic. So it's good for Matic. Good for Matic. I covered that last night. There's a lot of strong things for Polygon. I like Polygon, and they're one of the ones that are doing well today. What do you think about Singularity.net being on Cardano? Did they make that move? They're a data marketplace for AI. Very hot in 2021. I just, it didn't appeal to me. Okay, I didn't know they were moving to Cardano. Interesting move, but that Sophia robot, the guys who created Singularity.net. But they have more sophisticated robots now, so I don't know. Anyways, that's not the point. We're not talking about AI robots. Data marketplace. I think there's a use case for it. For me, I think it's just too early to have an AI data place or marketplace. Gas is $1 per liter in Indonesia. You get by with $5 per day. Well, that's good to hear. Some places around the world still have cheap gas. The autonomy, Mark says, I just saw the breaking news on this. So they are going to create some kind of new index for crypto to help institutions get involved. So that's good. It's basically go educate, it seems like, right? It's go educate the masses on crypto, not just Bitcoin, but crypto. Look at this. Stripe plans on laying off 14% of their workers. More and more of these payment networks, right, starting to struggle. And that's because we have great ones, like with the Cash App, with Strike, right? Just crypto overall. It's early. I'm not saying that they will displace Stripe and PayPal and Visa and MasterCard, but I think we're starting to see a little effect already, especially with PayPal. Everyone should just get off of PayPal. They want to fine people $2,500 for whatever they deem. You break any kind of their agreement, user agreement, if they deem that, they could charge you $2,500. That's just the most ridiculous thing. Again, I bet it's going to be a challenge. I don't see how they can legally do that. That would be really ridiculous. But anyways. Where's the market at? U.S. market is not looking too good today. Minus 362 for Dow, minus 175 for NASDAQ. But Bitcoin is still holding strong at 20,000. That's very positive. Crypto market cap still holding strong at 1 trillion. So have we finally decoupled away from the U.S. market? I say no, but it's very encouraging that the crypto market is holding up today, despite the sell-off yesterday and today. No, they didn't say it was an error. They said it was an error, and then they brought it back. I think you missed that. It's permanently now in effect for PayPal. It's in their user agreement. I just covered it last week. So be careful about using PayPal. Our petrol is in liters, not pints. Our beer comes in pints. Yeah, I'm sorry. I need to be more cultured in some of these other measurements and so forth from other countries. All right, guys. Overall, it's looking bleak in UK, in Germany, in Europe right now. It's having an effect on U.S. markets. A lot of people are still very afraid of inflation and more rate hikes coming up. But Bitcoin and crypto is staying strong, and you don't want to miss out on the tremendous gains that are coming. So stay strong, my friends. Smash up the like, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys later tonight, 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Take care. Bye-bye.